when we had it brought forward by a resident, that there's troubles with deliveries and there's trouble with access. So it came to my desk. I talked to Ann about it. I talked to Heather in W. We talked to police and fire chiefs about this, and Mass GIS. So the Commonwealth involved. Well, as you know, Route 15 is an old abandoned state route, and it's Haines Street from here to there, and then it's Mashpog,
It's
Haines Street.
From here to the end of Public House
Right.
Road. Then it's up Mashpog Road. Then it goes on that way and then under the overpass down to
that
Southbridge.
way.
Right.
And so,
There's like roads.
and you know, we have the signs up that show which street numbers Mashpog, but if you're not familiar, you really don't know those. And the real
Yeah.
problem too is
Yeah,
the
it's
numbering
small.
goes opposite directions.
Yeah.
So you go like, you climb this way and you climb that way. So I'm also thinking people who get to the end of Mashpog at 200 whatever Mashpog, who are looking for 400, get to the end of Mashpog up near, what is it,
Go where-
Farquhar or River,
Yeah,
and
where
there's
they
nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So
You're in
clearly, it's not working. So we've talked about it, and our thought was that it's most logical to call it all Haines Street, the whole strip. For the people who are on Haines, that's great.
There's only two.
There's only two, but there are only two of those. Our concern is that you all have already gone through one change where it changed to Mashpog/Route 15.
Yep.
And before we propose anything to the selectmen, we wanted to hear from any of you if you had a problem with us doing yet another name change.
Now, did you gentlemen have the Mashpog Road / Route 15, or were you just Route 15?
The data I got, initially, I think early this year I got a letter for recommendation.
Okay.
Yep,
And now you got another letter.
Before then, it was like,
Route 15.
height. Before then, when I was
Oh, you were using Haines?
yeah,
okay.
bought the property.
Okay.
And then I got a letter, I think, last year to say that,
Yep.
yeah.
See, the problem was the builder was using the wrong address too.
So he really wasn't Haines.
No, he wasn't Haines at all, but the builder was using Haines.
Right.
Which the builder was spoken to at least 4 times about the addresses he was using, because the deed would come in and I would call him and I would say, you're using the wrong address. Well, that's another issue that I've talked to them about. You shouldn't be
yeah.
giving permits when they're using the wrong address, but that's
And are
a
you
whole other issue.
Mashpog Route 15 slash?
Originally, Main Street when I bought,
Uh-huh.
Okay?
but then I have to kind of.
So same
Got the
situation.
same situation, yeah.
So you're all the same. Okay, so you guys have all gone through, you thought you were Haines, then you became Route 15, then you became Route 15 slash Mashpog. Well, we'd
So
like to
actually,
bring you back to,
Going back to Haines would be
Haines.
better, because if that's what it says on all of your deeds as well,
Do your
then that'll
deeds,
even look
your
good.
deeds say Haines Street?
Yeah.
Oh, well, even
That's
more
when-
so than
That's
your-
when I called the
because,
builder
you
and I
know,
was like, you're using the
That's another
wrong-"
problem,
Yeah.
because down the road, God forbid,
Yeah.
when you sell or if you pass or whatever, you're gonna have a
Yeah.
deed that's not gonna match your,
Yeah. I spoke to the attorneys, I spoke to the builder, every time, the first deed we got in that said that, we called them up, and we were like, you're using the wrong address, it's not Haines, but
and you know,
fell
for,
on deaf ears.
and for anybody who might be listening when we do put this out, you mentioned ambulances. One of our concerns is while our own local dispatch knows that and our own local ambulances know that, we do rely on mutual aid sometimes. So there's a concern that if you're coming from Southbridge, they can't go rely on a GPS. They can't rely on what your intuition tells you, because you're gonna see Mashpog Road that way, you're gonna go that way, and not that way toward 84. So there is a safety concern for us on this as well. We all, when we first had our first meeting on this, we all picked up our phones and punched it in. We pulled up a house and like tried to see what the address was. We all got different directions. Waze gave
Yeah.
us one, like Google gave us another.
Some time. to get
Yes.
collected, because no matter what, it's still, you know, a lot of them go by the post office address.
Yes.
Which they dictate a lot, but then a lot of people, individuals will use, you know, GPSs.
Right.
And that has to get updated.
Yep.
And
Which is why we have Mass GIS on.
They will help us with
Yeah.
that, so that
They're,
we,
they're
yeah.
already aware that there's
So
an
it's
issue.
post office and, you know, there's a lot of things
Yeah.
involved.
Well,
And you can go on Google and make corrections.
yep,
Which
Yeah.
I've actually done, but
and we don't want you to have to keep I mean,
No, you
part of
shouldn't
this
have
is
to.
we know it's a challenge every time you have to do an address change
Yeah.
on your credit cards and on your PayPal accounts or your shipping and all that. So that does become challenging. Oh, Bruce is going to put the mic out.
There you go.
So, yeah, you might want to leave it right there if you want in the middle. And thanks, Bruce. So I think that that's you know, there's going to be a little bit of pain on the change. I think it's important that Mass GIS changes that GPS, GIS changes the GPS, because even tractor trailers going down there. You know, that's a pretty big truck route, as we all know. But, you know, we'd like them to know that that is Haynes Street, and
Right.
even when you reference it as Route 15, it tends to be a little more of it sounds more like a through,
A throughway, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Now,
You could
we
grab the
also-
mic if you can, thanks.
that then, will Route 15 be eliminated? Where it has been eliminated in every other city,
Yeah,
except for Sturbridge,
I
all the way
guess-
from Greenwich, Connecticut, when Route 15 was put in. 84 eliminated Route 15. The state does not recognize it.
right, so we won't have anything that has an address that says Route 15.
Okay.
Whether or not the old signs will come down, probably. It'll
Yeah.
always be,
I
you know
just-
how
I
New
just
England is,
didn't want it
we'll
to
always
be-
reference it as 15 because we're from New
I just
England.
didn't want it to be Haynes Street / Route 15.
No, no,
No,
no.
no,
So
it's
we
gonna
are
be-
looking at a straight designation because that is a weird address. And
Yeah.
again, with computers and the amount of things that you're uploading, to have to upload an address that has a slash or a character,
Can cause problems.
it can cause all sorts of issues. So we want to keep this as simple as possible, and that's why I think at this point, the recommendation, unless we had resistance from the neighbors, was to go straight to Haynes Street. Okay. Well, that helps, because the selectmen are going to want to know what, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like people to know, I think we want to know where you live, and I think we want the ambulances to know, God forbid, where you
Right.
live if you need them.
yeah, and so, and Mass GIS is involved in it, and our mapping company, Ty and Bond, so there's all, what they call loc IDs and all that stuff, all that's gonna be updated, so.
You grab the, you know what, grab that, just so we can have everybody here. Yeah,
So, well, there are street signs.
yes, so DPW will put appropriate signage up. We'll have signs just, you know, where Mashpog ends and then
Yeah.
sort of continues. Probably at that location, there would be another Haynes Street sign. I mean, typically, once you're on a main road, until you come to cross intersections, you don't see another street sign.
Right,
In this
But I think in
case-
this instance, where we're changing the name of it to give, you know, some clarity instead of confusion to people that have GPSs, would then be able to see a street sign that says, oh, okay, this is Haynes Street.
Yeah, I think it
don't know
makes
how
sense
many
down
they
near
can put-
the,
Yeah, I don't know how many they can put on, but you would think like if it was.
I would think with the
here at
dog
the
center,
front-
the pet,
Yep, I was just gonna say
right.
River Road,
Yeah.
anywhere there's a.
At River,
Right,
and then
just at
down
an
further near the
intersection. That's
pilot.
fine.
Like,
Yep.
would be normal on any,
Right,
Right, well, you would
Yeah.
have at any major intersection on
Yep.
a road.
right.
yeah.
So I think it's likely we would add a few of those.
So,
And then we'll get rid of the little, you know, whatever to Mashpog Road
Yeah.
signs. We
Right.
would get rid of
Yep, get
those.
rid of that.
So, I think it's gonna be a pretty simple process, as long as, you know, I think our concern was, oh gosh, we've asked these people a year ago to change their address. Now we're gonna ask you to go through this all again.
Right,
But I'm not sure that what we
Last
asked you to
time.
change it to, you liked it to begin with, so,
right,
Definitely Haynes Street is the way.
good,
okay,
okay.
great.
So we
Any other?
apologize for having to change again. but
Yes,
We're trying
but
to
we-
make it better for everybody.
You know, if it ain't broke,
Yeah.
don't fix it, but in this case, it's
It's very-
broken, so.
We need to fix it.
And I think, again, you know I've been an advocate for this street for several reasons, you know.
Yeah.
The name of the street, the traffic, the speed limit. There's so many conditions on this road that I feel would like to see get addressed, but, you know, this, I think, is like the first step. And I'm still pushing for, you know, speed limits to be lowered, and possibly something for signage that would say maybe, you know, a preferable truck entrance onto 84, not eliminate, that they can't, because I understand there has to be a reason. I mean, I could give them a reason that they're driving down through the neighborhood, but it's, you know, it gets to be extreme. And I think, you know, in an email I believe I sent to you, you know, in regards to that, you know, the town approved this truck stop. The town then approved it, you know, to be, you know, enlarged. And then the town approved it to be enlarged again. So the town, I think, you know, and I'm just saying this, has to take some responsibility because they created this issue. There wouldn't be truck traffic going down that road if there was no truck stop there. You know, the trucks would just drive by on the highway. And now they're driving by and at a rate where I'm looking out my window and seeing them, and at times they're driving faster than the trucks behind them that I see on the highway. You know, so it's a shortcut. And, you know, even with the highway being a way station, you know, I tend to say, okay, there's another argument that they can bypass that way station by coming down Haines Street. So I'm just trying to.
Yeah, so I think for traffic, what would happen is they've probably done some, but we can do more. We can do speed studies. We
They
can
have.
put we can put the sign out, get the data on it.
And I've also talked with Joe Frawley from the state, DOT, and I've been in contact with him and emailing back and forth, and he's been out. And, you know, he did say that he can't believe that it's 55 through a residentially zoned, sorry, residentially zoned neighborhood.
Yep.
Which it is. It's residentially zoned, and you got 55 miles an hour driving right by where there's kids and everything playing. It's dangerous. And I myself try to pull into my driveway, and you've got people that are trying to do 55, and they're blowing their horns at you.
So I think looking at that, houses have gone in,
Right.
Developments
I was just gonna
happen.
say, that prior to those houses going in, it was still a residentially zoned
Right.
area.
But there was nothing
It was
no
deserted.
houses-
Yeah.
There was one
It's
house, I
an,
think.
it's an it's almost
Right,
an,
it is.
I don't want to say an abandoned road, but it's a
It has that
desolate road
appearance.
Right.
that nothing but transients are driving through. And, you know, they do not care about it, as you can see by the trash that they leave. So that's all we're asking, is the town be sympathetic to our cause.
Yes.
Where the town created this by letting the truck stop go in and allowing it, and then allowing it to be increased, and then allowing it to be increased again. It's more and more traffic that goes in there, and this traffic would be non-existent.
Well, I think it's two things combined. It's the increase in size on the truck stop and the growth of the residential neighborhood
Right.
and the development of what was zoned that way, but really had been
Wasn't utilized.
abandoned as you,
Right,
right.
yeah.
Right.
So I think there's no reason we can't look at that again. We'll talk.
That's all we ask, is just,
Because now there's,
Speed limit sign on our road.
that was taken down.
It's taken down, and I don't know
Okay.
why.
So
I-
Joe
I-
Frawley,
there-
Joe
I
Frawley
may
from the
have come
state,
down.
so the state owns, it's a state road only so many feet from the exit,
Right.
and then it turns back to town.
And I know
road.
that there's a state law, even on, I believe, municipal roads, that if there's no speed limit posted, there's something about a 45 mile an hour presumed limit when houses is so many feet apart. I just ran into this on Cedar,
oh, okay.
where there's no posted sign, so it's a presumed 45. And that's done in rural residential, which is basically what we're talking
Correct.
about. And I think likely if it's not posted, and I'll have to look into it because I'm not 100% sure on how that law reads, it's probably the type of road that would get a 45, which is a
would be
significant
great.
difference.
Which would be great.
Because it is a wide road,
Yep.
it can handle
And, you know,
that.
and I was speaking with Heather,
Yes,
so, and she was saying something to the effect of, you know, we need to come up with another, thinking outside the box, like putting a sign up where the entrance onto 84 is out of the pilot, possibly saying, you know, truck stop,
Yeah,
you know, truck
encouraging trucks
entrance,
to go.
preferred truck
Yeah, right.
entrance
Yeah.
versus, you know, going, you
Yep.
know, to
Going
be.
down that lane.
and we
instead
just,
of
yeah, so we would have to work with DOT on just ensuring that we're not
Yep.
violating any state statutes, even if it's on
Yep.
town property. We have obligations to the state statutes. But we'll definitely take a look at the broader picture of traffic control. We kind of wanted to start with just naming
We
this.
appreciate
naming
it,
this
we really, really do.
Let's get the right name of the street and then
Yep.
figure out what to do with the street once we
Because
have.
we don't want to become, you know, oh, them.
No, that's why we invite you in, because you're not of them.
My biggest concern are the children,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a mother, grandmother, and I lose sleep over it. They're playing, they don't realize these trucks are just flying down the
Yeah.
road. So,
So I have a 3-year-old that's autistic too.
Oh,
I don't know if that's something that comes into play when it comes to making these decisions?
We could also look into their, and I don't know how you feel about this, this is sort of a personal decision, but I know they do have signs that you can put up that will say, in wheelchair cases, they'll have wheelchair signs, or, I have seen deaf child
Yeah.
signs.
I wonder if there's.
So
Some
we
kind of
might be
signage.
able to put
Yeah.
something with special needs child or
Yes.
autistic. And obviously, we would work with you on whatever you're comfortable
with, yeah.
with,
Yeah.
Whatever
putting out
keeps them
there.
safer.
But
Really
anything, yeah, but sometimes that, I'm not a fan of too many signs because you get sort of sign blind, people just stop looking at them. But something that's sort of a little different in what it reads, because I'll know if I see like a deaf child or a blind child sign,
Right. Yeah,
it catches you a little bit.
yeah,
I think the speed limit, though, is the first.
Yeah, 40, yeah.
You know, if the speed limit is 55, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, 55 is 55, yeah.
You're 55, and they're saying, we're not doing anything wrong.
I mean, I don't have anything to do with speed limits or anything, but maybe just on that stretch of the road, maybe
Right.
have a lower speed limit until it passes
Yeah.
the residential area.
Yeah,
Like,
because-
I
once
don't
it
care what
passes
they're
the
doing down
entrance.
the other end, but
Right, but like, once it passes like Lead Mine Road entrance, then it's.
Well, I know
Yeah.
that the
Just
town, and I
land.
understand the town is putting an effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
They've eliminated the passing zone,
Yep,
they've restriped the road,
Yeah.
they've just put up a sign down further by before Lead Mine that says intersection now.
Hmm.
So, and, they've taken the speed limit sign down. So behind the scenes, I
There
know
may be,
that,
yeah, and I haven't touched base with Heather too much on that in the past few weeks, but I do know that, when you stop that passing, there are a lot of people who aren't naturally gonna do 55 on that road because they see houses, because it's also a dark road at night. So if you're going up that road, you might be doing 40, 45, but if it's a passing road, someone's gonna blow by them at 55. So just eliminating that
well,
helps.
eliminated the lines.
Yeah.
It hasn't eliminated the passing.
No, but it certainly allows for some pretty major enforcement.
It's still,
But it also, the other thing is that, to the point of leaving a portion of it 55, sometimes that's better because you can have a sign that says end of 55 zone.
Right.
If you're on the highway and you're in a 65, it'll say 50 mile an hour zone ahead. So
Right.
it might
And
give
that
us
catches your
latitude,
eye.
that catches your eye, a change will catch your eye. So it might be that if you have 55, you could end up with a sign that says end of 55 zone, or,
I know in Brimfield, when you're coming down Route 20, and you're coming from Sturbridge on Route 20, as you're coming into Brimfield, there's like a curve, and they have the sign that says it drops to 25, but they have the flashing sign there that, like,
to
catches
remind
your
people
eye
of the dropping.
to drop it. Yeah, because you're going from 55
And
to
I'm
25.
and I try to
that's
think of the
a huge
future
drop.
because of the other lots that are empty.
Mm-hmm.
And if the houses, if we
More.
develop, a series of houses, it's gonna be,
More
why not do it now in the beginning?
Yep, and they're gonna be people who have children in many cases who are gonna move into these homes. So-
And I've often thought about maybe, a little ball bouncing out on the road.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I don't.
No, but the fear of a kid following a little ball bouncing,
Right.
but yes.
Exactly, and that's
Pets.
my point,
Yeah,
but,
pets,
pets too,
pets,
they
dogs,
run out,
cats,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, it's a neighborhood.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, oops, I apologize. So, anything else? Any? Okay,
Good.
Terrific.
Doesn't sound like anybody's gonna have a problem with changing to Haynes Street.
one neighbor that's not here.
okay, and were they comfortable, or do you know?
I have
Do
no
you know?
idea.
They seem
Okay.
pretty easy going, but-
Okay. But if the deed says Haynes, it makes it much easier too.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I'm sure their deed says Haynes Street.
yeah.
Probably does, because nobody listened.
So we will, I will make a recommendation to the board. I mean, at this point, I might even be able to make that recommendation on December 5th
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
good.
So keep your eyes on the agenda for the meeting if you want to come. But frankly, I don't even think, I think if I put it on the agenda and say that we met with neighbors, the people who came are all unanimously in agreement, I don't think the board is going to resist this. I had put it in front of them anyway, that this was a concern, that we were going to have a neighborhood meeting.
Yep.
They were very supportive. So I think we'll have the Board of the Selectmen, I can't speak for them certainly, but given the fact, and I appreciate you all showing up, because to have the voice of the neighbors is really critical in this. This is not one of those changes that you say, well, it's for the greater good of the town, so, even if the neighbors don't like it, it might be for the greater good. This is about you guys. This is a very, very local issue.
Yeah,
So I think having your voice is critical.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because I actually thought about it, what you think about the speed limit.
Mhm.
So would we need to come for another meeting, to discuss the speed limit or?
I don't think so yet. I think, let's get the street change done. Let me talk to Heather, who's our DPW director, and the police chief. Because I think it's gonna have to come from the police chief, any recommendations on that. So I think that at some point we might move forward and have neighbors come in to speak to it. But again, I think if the police department recommends a reduction, I really don't envision there's gonna be any resistance. So let me start that process, and what we will do is we will reach back out to you. I mean, in this case, we sent to every property owner, even the Commonwealth. If we're gonna do something like that, we probably will reach out to just the
Yeah.
homes on the speed limit, because I'm not really worried about businesses with the speed limit in this case, or
Yeah.
state-owned land.
Right.
The speed limit's much more of a neighbor question. The name change really applied to everybody,
Everybody,
even just the landowners might have had an interest in the Commonwealth, frankly.
Right.
But I think the speed limit, will reach out to you if it looks like that's a discussion that we need to bring you back in for, or if we want you to come to a board meeting to speak on it. But I think we're good for now on that. But we will keep you, and you can always reach out to me.
Can
And
you talk to the police chief about this?
we talked more about name changes at this point and safety with that. I've talked more to Heather about speed and whatnot on the road and traffic mitigation.
Who is the safety person for the town? Would that be you as well as the police chief?
It's collectively, I mean, the police chief and fire chief certainly have a tremendous amount of voice in public safety. In the case of speeding and traffic, recommendations from the police department are gonna hold a lot of weight.
Yep.
And then I take those recommendations to the board. The board are the street commissioners by charter.
Okay.
So I think ultimately they may have a final vote on speed limit, though I don't know if speed limit, naming it does. To name the street, it falls under them. They are the street
Right,
commissioners.
right.
Not sure about speed limit, if that technically
Yeah,
is under the
that's where
purview
I'm
of the
just trying to
chief.
find out who, being the, I'm trying to push this for everybody, and I just don't know who else to talk to.
So I
Because
think-
I've talked to you.
Yeah, so
I
it's,
sent an email to I've met
Yeah.
with Heather.
and pretty much, it's gonna be Heather, myself, the chief, are gonna make a recommendation to the board, ultimately.
Okay,
We will reach out to you if there's going to be some kind of, Ann's going to be sort of my keeper of my list of names on this, of who I need to reach out to. If we are going to have, if something goes awry and I don't see that we're going to have any movement on that, I will reach out to you, because I know that as a group, you're probably going to want to have voice if there's no movement on that. If there is movement on that, we might just be in good shape and it'll be fine. But let me look, basically, traffic plans are put together after studies are done, data's gathered. So the chief's not just gonna arbitrarily say, let's just drop it. He's
No.
gonna put the
I
sign
mean,
out there.
I look at the road change,
Yep,
meaning, before, like you said, there were no homes. And now
Right.
there are homes on that road.
there's been
Whether
a
it was
change.
residential or
Yes.
not, now there are homes.
and they will take that into consideration, and what he'll probably do, or likely, they'll put the sign out there that does the count, you'll see the little speed.
I was gonna
Yep.
say, I thought they did.
They
that
might have done that,
once.
and I don't know how much data they gathered. Sometimes they put the sign out just to slow people down. Other times they're data gathering.
And just on that, they kind of put it up at the top of the hill.
Yep, well, and they'll move it around, they'll do
Put
it
it
now.
at the
If they're
bottom of
doing-
the hill.
Yeah, if they're
They're
doing
going
it
a
for a
lot past
study,
that.
if they're doing it for a study, they'll actually put it in a bunch of different locations. So they may already have the data, but they'll probably want to do updated data, which is not a bad thing to do.
Right.
And they'll get a sense, they'll put a patrolman out there sometimes to take a look at what's going on.
They did, they sat in
Yeah, they will watch. So I'll talk to the chief to see just what he has on this already and what more he'd want to do before he made some type of a recommendation. And so that'll be Heather, the chief, and myself,
Okay. All right.
and we'll be
Okay.
on that. But again, I think it's clear that the dynamic, I'm not quick to say, oh, let's just change speed limits. But in this case, it's a road that did not have homes on it, pretty much.
And that changed.
And now it does.
That's the biggest change,
That's all I
is
look
now that it's
for
been.
is just, not the sympathetic part of it is, coming to you, it's always nice to know that the town is working with you.
Yes.
Versus the town just said, no.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
always, always, always. We work for you. So that's our job. That is our job. So I actually appreciate, I love this, I love the interactive process. That's why I like small government, because we can have these meetings.
If there's anything that we can do,
Yes,
feel free, and you've got my
Yep,
No,
we'll,
no speed strips.
we'll definitely, yeah, no, you know,
So take
no,
that
no,
off
don't
the
do
Christmas
anything,
list.
yeah, don't do anything that I don't want to know about. Just don't do anything I don't want to know about.
Yeah,
Yep, if we need to bring more people in, or we need you to reach out to more, but I think at this point, I think it's a discussion I can pretty clearly have with the police chief and Heather. And we'll come up with something, some traffic mitigation of some sort. If there's a restriction on the speed limit, there's other traffic mitigation we can do. We will figure something out.
yeah. Because I don't think that the few homes at this end of the street are really impacted by the.
No, that's
by the
slower up
trucks, you
here.
know?
And the trucks don't even
It's
want to
from
come through this
Mashpog down.
intersection.
We can't make that turn.
Yeah.
Right, they're not coming through here.
Right.
It's from
Yes.
that midpoint, yeah.
Mashpog.
Mashpog down
really-
is where you can see
yeah,
that
where you- so you
turns
guys
into
are
a
really the
speedway.
ones that feel that.
And a truck speedway, but even the cars,
Yeah.
It's a transient
Yeah.
road.
it really
I
is.
don't know how many cars that go down that road actually live down there.
Right.
If you stop
Probably
that
very
entrance-
few.
If you stop that other entrance from 8 to 84, that road would be there.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
yeah, really, it
Yeah.
is, it is. I mean, I actually like it as a relaxing, like, country drive road. I'm probably the one who drives everybody nuts doing 35
Yeah.
in my truck, looking around. Oh, it's pretty. It is a pretty
Yeah, it
road.
is.
It's a nice road to
nice
just kind of
little area.
cruise down.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you for participating. This is what it's all about.
Okay.
Thank you.